What's up, Internet? Who won the big battle between the big monsters? We know, you probably know, because this is the spoiler chat for Godzilla vs. Kong. My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Claroos.
We get Nerdy Nightly.
We thought we'd share it with you.
That's right. Hashtag Team Opposable Thumbs.
I mean, here's the thing. Nobody won.
Oh, that is not true. Godzilla won.
Well, yeah. Godzilla won.
In the battle, this is we got right to spoilers.
Godzilla would have lost without King Kong.
No, Godzilla would have lost to Mechagodzilla. But Godzilla versus King Kong. If we're going on the title match,
yes.
You know what I mean? Like saying that Kong was like vital to Godzilla against Mechagodzilla is like saying that like two wrestlers went at it. One beat the other up, and then the wrestler who won got hit by a bus. And so the first wrestler is the winner? No.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
Godzilla flat out won both big matches in this.
Yeah, he's the king of monsters. That he's earned his title at this point, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Also, he like shoots nuclear breath.
Yeah, you can't. It's really hard to top that. Yeah. So
the movie really went out of its way to make sure that Kong never got hit by it.
Yeah, Kong tried really hard. Kong knew.
Mm-hmm.
Kong knew. He was like, no, because he got burned by it.
Yeah.
And was like, oh, yeah, no.
But now that we've spoiled the end of the movie, let's talk about
the beginning.
Let's talk about the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
We are on an island.
Mm-hmm.
We're on Skull Island from the movie, but we're in a dome. Kong has been kept in captivity on an island that he can't get off of. And this was the first moment where I was like, oh, this movie isn't going to make any sense.
Okay, well, that one, they justified it by saying that if Godzilla knew that Kong was there, that he would come for him and kill him. And that the fear...
Okay, but Kong has been on this island for decades.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Like Kong is... Because we meet Kong on this island in... I think Kong Skull Island takes place in the 70s.
Okay.
Right? So... Kong has been there for decades, and Godzilla has not gone and attacked him.
Mm-hmm. Why now?
Why would you build a giant dome around him when he's already on the safe island where he's safe? I don't know. And that was the moment I was like, why do you need... Okay, fine. Maybe you want a Truman Show King Kong for some reason. Fine. But then they're like... Alexander Skarsgård shows up, and he's all like, we're going to put him on a boat. And then they just are like on a boat.
Oh, yeah.
And you're
like, oh yeah, we fully sedated Godzilla and chained him to a boat with no problem. Not Godzilla, King Kong.
King Kong, yeah.
Yeah, they were like, no big deal. He's just there now. We're fine. Like they do not bother to touch on it at all.
Well, and they don't explain why anything happens, right? Because the reason they pull Kong onto that boat is because Godzilla is attacking Pensacola, Florida. Shout out to Pensacola, Florida. I have family there.
Amazing.
Can't recommend it.
Okay, wow. So
sorry,
Godzilla
Pensacola.
Did we have to do, you know?
Yeah. It's a great party town. There are some beach bars in Pensacola. You can have a good time. But so Godzilla attacks Pensacola, Florida, because there's
the
a
base
headquarters
there.
of Apex. Well, yeah, but they don't know that, right? Like in universe, they're like, no, he just attacked Pensacola for some reason.
Yeah.
And so their plan is, let's just go over the plan really quick. They need to Apex, the company, needs to get Kong to the middle of the earth so that they can get the energy source to build the weapon to fight Godzilla.
Yeah.
Because he's attacking them because they already have the weapon to fight Godzilla.
Yeah, the weapon in question, which is Mechagodzilla. Spoilers. So they have built Mechagodzilla, but they do not have enough power for it. And so they need power from the center of the earth. So yeah, it's this weird
snake eating its own head.
Exactly.
Or a snake eating its own tail, sorry.
Yeah. Where you're like, okay, but if you hadn't have built this... So I'm assuming the understanding is that they're obviously very scared of Godzilla and they want a way to protect themselves. And obviously in doing that upsets Godzilla, and so he attacks, and then they feel justified in it, so they feel better about it, but it's...
Yes.
Yeah.
So here's my question, right? You know, right? They figure out... The company Apex knows, and we know because they say it in the movie, they know that Godzilla's coming for them.
Yeah.
They know that when they turn on Mechagodzilla, Godzilla is coming for them. So
we don't know why.
The big question, what is he? He can sense large machines.
Yeah.
Why doesn't he treat skyscrapers the same way he does Mechagodzilla? Like, what's the difference?
I don't know.
Why is Apex's main laboratory in Hong Kong? Like, why would you? If your whole purpose, right? You're building Mechagodzilla in order to stop Godzilla from killing humans.
Let's put it in a super condensed city, highly populated area.
Is Hong Kong the most populated city on Earth? It's one of them, right?
Density-wise, like it might be.
Because I'm pretty sure Hong Kong is more populated than New York.
In like a smaller area.
No, I just mean like I think there's more. I think just like per I just think there are more people in Hong Kong. Not even per square meter. I just mean like overall. Like I think that Hong Kong, the greater Hong Kong area, has like 16 million people in it, right?
Yeah,
like,
I think so.
It's got to be one of the largest cities on the planet.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know, where's a good place to put the beacon that Godzilla will come to? Because their plan is to fight him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The plan is to turn on this thing, to power it up, to go and fight Godzilla.
So why not do that in like
the middle of nowhere?
Yes. This is the
that
question.
Sahara Desert? Where nobody lives?
That like I was so baffled by. Like Pacific Rim, right? The Pacific Rim, they explain that they have their Jaegers in major cities because that's where the kaiju tend to come to shore. Mm-hmm. So they're there because they're like rapid dispatch to fight the Jaegers when they're in their prime. Obviously, in the movies, they're past their prime, but the goal is to be like ready when it comes, right?
Yeah, for sure.
This movie, they know that they can put it anywhere. They can fight Godzilla on any location on Earth.
Godzilla will come to them.
Because, for some reason in this movie, Apex has access to the entire military of any country.
Yeah, they're just allowed anywhere. And nobody cares.
Not even are they allowed anywhere. They literally are like, all right, we're gonna get Kong to Antarctica or the Arctic. I can't remember which one. And they get I'm assuming that's the U.S. military, but Apex is a Chinese company that can just commandeer the U.S. military to float Godzilla across the ocean, despite the fact that they have helicopters that can do it. We get to our first big fight, and you're like, why? After the first big fight, they put him on a helicopter, a fleet of helicopters. Yeah, and I'm like,
why did you not do this sooner? Why did you even risk? Because it was a whole thing.
Oh
they were worried that taking Kong overseas would provoke Godzilla, and it did. So why didn't you just fly him there in the first place?
Well, and like, why did the movie never even attempt to explain how they're in charge? Like, Alexander Skarsgård is just given command of multiple U.S. Navy ships.
Even though he's a book author.
He's a scientist.
I know.
He's a scientist, but he's not a fleet commander. You know what I mean? Like, I've played Fleet Commander the game. I don't think I would know what to do if you gave me free reign of a bunch of warships in real life.
Yeah.
It's just it's the small stuff like that just keeps not going explained. That, like, makes this movie literally nonsense.
Oh, yeah.
It just happens to be really good nonsense when the big fights happen.
Here's the thing. We said this in our non-spoiler chat, and I do want to say it here, that this is big, dumb fun that works. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make sense. It you don't think about it too hard, and you'll have a great time. And we did. We did. There are a lot of enjoyable things in that movie. The visuals are incredible. The actors are great, even though the human stuff isn't as important. But just don't analyze it.
Well, but like part of the fun of watching this movie...
You'll end up doing this.
Part of the fun of watching the movie were the moments where we'd be like, what?
Yeah.
Like, that's fun. And like, there is something to like B movies that you're, it's funny, right? Because I really like watching bad movies that don't make sense. I really like watching bad movies that don't make sense. It's something that I find enjoyable. And the weird thing is that this movie is one of those movies. It just happens to have a $250 million budget. Yeah. And so it looks really good. Yeah. But like, this movie is not functionally driven by a plot. Mm-hmm. It's so...
Yeah. Like, the Earth is hollow, and there's another world inside of the Earth which you can But
you can only get to through these, like, magic portals
Yeah.
until Godzilla shoots an Omega Beam to the center of the Earth.
To the center of the Earth.
Not an Omega Beam, sorry, I'm still in Zack Snyder Justice League mode.
The nuclear
his
breath.
nuclear breath.
Yeah.
He literally burns a hole through the entire planet.
Literally. Like Kong is inside the center of the Earth, and something lets Godzilla know that he's there, and Zilla's like, oh, hell no.
Yeah, Godzilla is in Hong Kong to fight Mechagodzilla.
Yes, yeah.
And he just, like, in the middle of going to fight Mechagodzilla, he's like, hold up 1 second. I need to burn a hole through the entire planet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what's so insane about it is that he burns a hole through the whole planet, and then the movie has the audacity to be like, all right, time for them to fight. This is going to be a fair fight. I'm like, Godzilla has the power. Kong is a big monkey.
Yeah.
Sorry, a big ape. And Godzilla can burn holes through planets. What is Kong going to do?
But King Kong has an axe.
Yes. And my axe.
Literally. There's a TikTok in there somewhere that we gotta make.
There is.
King Kong gets his little not little, it's massive. He has a big axe which can be charged with nuclear power. So he charges it in the center of the Earth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then it, like, runs out on the surface, and then for some reason, and then Godzilla charges it back up again with his nuclear breath when they're fighting Mechagodzilla.
Well, and that's what's weird, right? Like, when his axe is charged, it's a super axe, I guess?
Yeah.
Like, does it get sharper? Or, like, I don't
know, because they're not really able to do a lot of damage to Mechagodzilla until they use his axe. And as soon as the axe hits him, he, like, chops up Mechagodzilla like it's nothing.
Oh, and it's great.
It's great.
That whole sequence is fun to watch.
Yes.
But, like, I didn't understand how the axe got better. Because it wasn't like he was hitting things and there was, like, nuclear explosion. There wasn't any sort of, like, visual difference.
Just
the
glowing.
axe was just blue.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, was the axe sharp enough before, but you just needed... Is it propelled by the new... Like, any sort of explanation of that...
Don't think about it too hard, because it doesn't make sense.
You can't.
My favorite stuff was also, like, the human side of things. So Millie Bobby Brown and her compatriots break into Apex, and then...
They don't even break in. They walk in.
They walk in.
They walk in.
Literally.
They open an elevator to a secret basement that's got no security.
First, so it looks like they go to the Florida base that's been destroyed.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, so they go to the Florida base that's been destroyed, and for some reason, there are still things that are operational in there.
Well, no, because the basements are... Here's the thing. They go to there, right? And the top is destroyed.
Yeah.
But the elevator to the basement is still operational. So they go into that elevator, and they go down, and they go into the basement, and everything there is still running. There are people there. There's no security, though, and no one notices that they've got there. But there are people there running the maglev system to get the...
there has to be, because the three of them end up, like, stuck on a little, like...
So there's no security.
No security at all.
They walk into a pod
cameras.
that has the skull crawlers from Kong Skull Island on it, and they're like, oh no, skull crawlers, what's going to happen? The doors close, and this thing gets shot through a magnet train.
To Hong Kong.
But it's they don't scan it to see what they're sending. So these workers are just like, whatever.
Yeah.
It gets to Hong Kong.
People are slacking.
The door opens and they get out, and there's no one's there to receive it. They just, like, are given free reign of the facility, and you're like, what?
They just show up.
I can't get on a flight to, like, a town 45 minutes away without taking my shoes off, without having my bags go through X-ray. You're telling me you send giant lethal creatures around the world and no one is even there to get it? Like...
No, yeah, that nobody cares. And so they're able to literally just do whatever they want until they end up accidentally in an arena where Mechagodzilla powers up and kills
a skullcrawler. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then...
Also, that is a test that is being monitored by... assumingly all of the scientists, right?
Yeah, and nobody saw them.
But it's being monitored, but no one's paying attention. This movie kind of seems like it was made by people who weren't paying attention.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of looks like someone, like, watched a child play with their Godzilla, their Mechagodzilla, and their King Kong toys in, like, a room, right? And they, like, took that fight, and they were like, that looked really cool. Let's make that a movie. And
we just add some extra stuff in there.
They almost could have taken all of the human stuff from like B-roll from other films and just thrown it in. They might as well have, for how much like it makes sense.
Yeah, it's like it gets to the point where they are captured eventually, and then Mechagodzilla becomes sentient.
Right.
Using the skull of Monster Zero. Is it Monster Zero?
Yeah, King Ghidorah.
Yeah. So they find the skull of Monster Zero, and they're like, okay, these things must communicate telepathically because their necks are so long. And they take the skull, and they use the technology. There's no brain in there, which is what we were kind of...
No, but here's what I was saying. Like, I think the guy is the brain, and then the skull is the antenna, is what they're trying to set up.
Sure. So the skull can connect the guy in the helmet to the Mechagodzilla.
Yes.
Now, when they take Kong to the center of the earth, some random lady from Apex who is just there literally...
Played by Eiza Gonzalez.
One thing.
Who is very much not necessary to this film.
Yeah.
But she's very attractive.
She's great, and she's
hot, very talented. But like her purpose in this movie was
very confusing. So she takes a sample of whatever power is in the center of the earth, and Wi-Fi downloads it to Apex.
The fact that they have magic Wi-Fi in the middle of the planet.
Literally magic Wi-Fi. It takes 5 minutes to download. You know, it's like if you were to download a 30-minute movie.
No, I'm so sorry. I upload these videos to YouTube every time we make them.
That's
and I'm
true.
telling you right now, it will take me longer to upload this video to YouTube than it took her to upload the magic radiation sample from the center of the earth through the mantle, the crust, through all the dirt to Hong Kong.
Yeah. Yeah.
They had signal in a place that they didn't know existed.
Literally.
Until they got there.
Very confusing, but sure, okay. And so that gets sent up, and then they're able to fully power Mechagodzilla. Except that for some reason, this energy source also severs. I don't know. It severs the connection between the guy controlling Mechagodzilla, and it makes Mechagodzilla sentient, and he just becomes his own thing, and he just starts attacking. He turns over and he kills the main bad guy, and then goes off to fight. The sentience
was so unnecessary.
Yeah, they didn't need
it's such a huge plot hole for this movie to just have why would they build Mechagodzilla to be capable of that?
I'm not sure that they did.
They had to. They built him. That would be my iPhone becoming sentient. And there just isn't enough processing power in my iPhone for that to be possible, right? And then they're he's sentient through the satellite, and I was like, but what is the brain here?
Again, you can't ask too many questions. But my favorite part is when Millie Bobby Brown and
Brian Tyree Hill?
I'm not sure.
I think it's Brian Tyree Hill.
I'm bad with names. Anyways, the three Stooges are there in the kind of headquarters main area, and they're
Brian Tyree Henry.
And they're like, we gotta do something. We gotta help.
Stooges.
And then they were like, oh, let's try and guess the password to this highly encrypted, secretive. Military, but also above the military grade computer system.
Yeah, but it's bad enough when someone is like, oh, I knew them. I'm going to guess their password based on what I know about them. Yeah. But he's like, I'm going to guess the password based on no information. You don't know how long the password is. You have no concept of what it could possibly be. Yeah. You can't. And then so they go through this argument, him and Brian Tyree Henry's character, and they're arguing, and he's like, I went to an HTML camp once, and I'm like, This is so dumb. This is so not necessary to the movie. I was just like, why is this here? Did someone think that HTML camp was just a really funny line, so they kept it in?
I guess.
Why?
That's me being oh, I can totally hack this thing. I did HTML for my Neopets pages. You know what I mean?
Also, if you can find her Neopets page, it's a good time.
Thanks for that.
It's still alive.
No, the best part is when, so they obviously cannot guess the password. That would be absurd if they could. Yeah. So they obviously cannot guess the password.
I'm not gonna lie, but at that point in the movie, I genuinely was like, I don't know how, but he's gonna guess the password. I was like, this movie's dumb enough.
I thought Millie Bobby Brown would call up her dad, and he would be able to, like, give it to them, but then they didn't have service.
Why would her dad know the password, though?
Doesn't he works for Apex?
No. He works for Monarch.
Working for? Oh.
Monarch and Apex are separate things. That's what's super confusing about this, right? Like, Apex is able to have access to all this stuff, even though it's technically Monarch, but Monarch isn't involved in any of the Apex stuff.
Yeah, it's very confusing. Anyways,
they kind of broke their own universe's rules a lot in this, unfortunately.
A lot. The day is saved, basically, by, they couldn't guess the password, so instead they poured a little bit of alcohol into the vents on the computer, and it, like, kind of shorted out a little bit, giving Kong and Godzilla a moment to defeat Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, the whiskey, a single malt, it's, I know they saved the world, but it's kind of a waste of single malt. The whiskey fries the computer that isn't the satellite, and so the satellite loses its connection for a second. Yeah. And so Mechagodzilla, like, spasms for, like... It's very bizarre, because it's implying that computer is the brain, even though that computer isn't... Isn't...
Because...
I don't know. Guys,
I don't know. Here's the thing. I feel like we have talked about how confusing this movie is. It's still great.
It's fun, yeah.
If you're going into this, like, wanting an intellectual watch, this is not for you. This is not for you. If you want to see big monsters punching each other with really cool effects, it's a great movie.
Yeah, and that's what's tough about it, right? It's like, you can't...
The human stuff makes no sense, but if you don't bother about that, and you just focus on the monsters, there's really cool stuff in there. The fights look brilliant.
The second fight, I mean, this is a spoiler chat, so you've already seen them. I don't know, we're not trying to sell you on it. Or you're one of those mad lads who's like, spoil me. Honestly, it's hard to spoil this movie. There's not much to spoil. Mechagodzilla,
he's in the trailer.
Godzilla and King Kong fight for no reason. Yeah. Godzilla runs away from that fight for no reason at the end of it. He wins.
Godzilla's like, I win, and then they yell at each other for a bit, and then Godzilla's like, yeah, okay. Even though he kills all the other monsters.
Yeah, but he does that twice. Like, Godzilla in this movie is like, stay down. It's very much like, the first time it happened, the end of that scene where he's, like, in the flames and he swims away reminded me of Batman v Superman, when Clark Kent gets hit by the Batmobile, and then he's like, the Bat's dead. And then he flies away, and then Batman's like, do you bleed? You will. Yeah, and I was like, oh my god, wait, this is like the... I wish Batman v Superman was this much fun. If Batman v Superman was this much fun, I would forgive all of the stuff in Batman v Superman that I think is as dumb as some of the stuff in this movie.
Yeah, well, because here's the thing about Godzilla versus Kong is that it knows what it's doing. Oh, 100%. It's not trying to give you Inception. You know what I mean? It's trying to give you what you want, which is monsters hitting each other.
Yeah, it lives up to the title.
For sure.
If you want it to live up to the title, it does. Although at the same time, I feel like Godzilla, King of the Monsters, also lived up to the title, but tried too hard. This doesn't try too hard to, like... It tries just enough that, like, the humans are there, and you're like, okay, the humans are there, without you being like, the humans are ruining this movie.
Yeah, like, the balance is much better, I think. And I think the human stuff is a better plotline as well. Like, I just...
depending on the human stuff. Like, the Monarch storyline is really pointless.
That's true.
Kevin Chandler?
I'm not sure.
Is that his name? Kyle Chandler? Kyle Chandler comes back as the director of Monarch in this movie, Millie Bobby Brown's dad. Yeah. And he just kind of is, like, places where things happen. Yeah. But he doesn't do anything in any of those places.
There's no reason for him to be there.
He also somehow gets to Okay, so they're like, Godzilla's almost to Hong Kong. And he's in Pensacola, Florida.
And he teleports.
He gets to Hong Kong at the same time as Godzilla. And I'm like, what magic... Did he take the magnet train? He apparated. Yeah. Did he get on the underground magnet train? Do people know about that? Like, how did Kyle Chandler get there to get his daughter's phone call? They don't care. Like, the movie doesn't care.
It really does not.
And I think that's, like, when they were, like, trying to come up with, like, Kong has to get to Hong Kong, but we want him to go to the center of the earth for this fight with the snake, the flying snake things. What if Godzilla just burns a hole through the entire planet? And I think that's...
Let's go with that.
Sure. This movie, the human stuff was a lot of, like, the first ideas.
Yeah.
There was no polish. They were like, It doesn't... Like, someone in the writer's room for this movie was literally like, guys, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And it's true. It didn't really matter.
Because this is a good movie. And like we said, we would pay to see this in theaters because we watch this at home. So if we could see this in an IMAX screen, I would pay again to see this in IMAX. It is bombastic and fun and big enough that I would give it money a second time just to see the fights in theaters. I would honestly love a 50-minute cut of this movie that was just the fights.
Somebody will do it.
Just give me Samuel L. Jackson sitting backwards on a chair in between fight sequences explaining what did happen.
That's perfect. That's all I need.
In his character from Kong Skull Island, though. He has to be in his character. He's like, I died in Kong Skull Island, so I'm back from heaven to explain to you what happens in the non-fight sequence scenes.
Wow, did you just spoil Kong Island for me?
It took place 40 years ago. His character would be 100 and...
No, I just mean you said that he died in Kong Skull Island.
No, he's dead by now.
Oh, I thought... I was like, wow, did you just spoil the movie for me?
Also, right. I hate to tell you this, but Samuel L. Jackson, none of the humans... Not all that important to the plot of Kong Skull Island.
I'm shocked.
It's really about King Kong.
I am shocked.
Although it is fun how many MCU stars are in that movie.
Yeah.
Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson, and I think there's one more. Yeah. Warner Brothers was really trying to pull from a deep bench they got over there at Marvel. Yeah, is there anything we missed? There's probably stuff we missed. I don't know. We didn't talk about the fights that much, but the fights are really just punch.
They're just great. They're just good. We're not the type of combat people to analyze it. The one thing we did not talk about. I would
love for a real combat person to analyze the fighting in this.
The one thing that we didn't really touch on is that Godzilla moves differently in this movie than he does in the other ones.
He looks like he's a younger lizard. He's 30 years younger in this movie than he was in the last one.
Yeah, he's a little bit hyped up on cocaine. He's yeah. He feels different.
He didn't snort cocaine. He snorted Tony Montana.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's not a big thing, but it is just something to note right away at the top of the movie. You definitely notice it. And I think that they just did what they had to do for him to keep up with King Kong. Because King Kong is just faster, and Godzilla in the other two movies and the other monsters were slow.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And it worked, but they just had to make some adjustments for this movie, and I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I will say I like the axe. Giving Kong that axe, because there's some great shots in the trailers. There's even more good stuff with the axe in this.
Yeah.
And I think that giving Kong the axe gave those fights dynamism.
Yeah.
It really and changed the second fight from the first fight, right?
Agreed. Yeah.
It made Kong dangerous in the second fight in a way that he was really just trying to survive in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And so I appreciated that as a choice. I also love that it comes from his ancestors. They did a lot of character work for Kong. Which is actually interesting, right? Because Kong kind of gets a lot of real character investment in this movie. He can talk now, he can sign.
Mm-hmm.
He has a relationship with the little girl. He kind of has a awareness. Godzilla, they still kind of keep him at arm's length, and it's interesting that the movie kind of chooses to do that, but make Godzilla the stronger of the two monsters. I actually really appreciate the storytelling in that. Mm-hmm. So it's not even just that the combat is good between the monsters, but the actual storytelling around the monsters and the thematic storytelling around the monsters was actually, even that stuff was more interesting than the human stories in this, which I think the movie succeeds in, and I enjoyed it. It's a fun movie.
Yeah.
I would definitely watch this again, especially if I could see it in IMAX.
Yeah. Me too. We'll let you guys know if we go see it again.
That's not going to happen anytime soon.
No, theaters are still closed.
That's not our choice. If we could, the only way we could have seen this is at a drive-in that's 2 hours away, and we were like, no.
Yeah.
It's too cold in Canada for that.
Yeah, truly.
But if you like this video, like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next movie review, which will be something. There's got to be something coming. We still haven't done Ryan the Last Dragon. We have to do that at some point.
Oh, yes.
But stick around the channel every once in a while. We put out 5 videos today.
Yeah, we do stuff.
We do things.
We make content.
We're also over on Twitch. I'm over at twitch.tv/nerdynightly.
I'm over at twitch.tv/ClarkStakara.
Yeah, handles are up there. And if you are watching this the day it airs, Friday, April 2nd, tomorrow, we are going to be playing Dark Souls 1 Remastered on the Switch, each holding one Joy-Con. So we're going to have to play together, which is not our specialty if you've seen us play Hades. But we're going to try and make it happen. It's going to be a fun time, 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. And as always, my name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarus.
Do something nerdy tonight.
Bye.